Definitely going to be a continued DePaul team being involved. We've got DePaul Academy Black versus Scarlet Hawks. So, Labasco, we saw some definitely dominant play by DePaul. And I'm curious to see if we're going to see the same thing from this Academy Black team.
I don't know if we will. That's just how good their team is, that their top team is. They have a good Academy team, though, too. Like I forget what tournament it was. I don't remember if it was the collegiate tournament that the Midwest Showdown, or if it was the tournament that you and I did at the LAN when LANs were still possible.
A thing.
It was one of those two. The DePaul Academy team actually went pretty far and almost met DePaul. So they're a pretty good team. Like they are a good team. They're just not at the caliber that their TESPA team is. So
definitely. And we're going to be heading on Temple of Anubis once again for those that may be tuning in a little bit later. Again, this is the 3-week Swiss format first. So we are going to have the same.
Ready for battle. Right.
Yeah, they're actually going with a dive composition here too for the Scarlet Hawks. So they've got the Winston, which very common to see Winston on this first point. There's a lot of areas for the Winston to kind of be on high ground, drop down onto players, jump out, get a lot of cleave damage, do that whole thing, you know? So it makes sense to see a Winston here. I'm a little surprised by it, though. The Eureka seems like it might be the better option. It just protects your Ashe that much better. But this can still be something that works, and obviously they're going high on the damage side because Mott is on the Zenyatta. So that's the thing here, and then looks like we might get some Widow play too, Rich. It looks like DePaul is going to come out with this Widow. Ooh. Yeah, they're keeping their advantage. They still have their supports alive, and now you've got your DPS that can come back pretty quickly. So the fact that they were able to keep their main tank up, huge for winning this fight and keeping themselves maintained and out in front. And they're getting close already to a Primal Rage, but ultimates are getting pretty close for DePaul Academy, too. Good.
From Scarlet Hawks, who is really just causing so much harass to DePaul that it's allowing a great recovery from that forward push.
They just have to make sure that they maintain the point. Don't give up that 33%. I mean, not that it would be a bad thing if they did. They still maintain it anyways. They really worked through anything that came their way. DePaul didn't use any ultimates yet, though, is the one thing. They've been kind of holding off. Tangerine has made that switch to the Ashe, too, so the Dynamite is just so important here. It's really hard for the Widowmaker to get value if she's that unprotected at times, too. So if you're not in your shots, you're better off switching to the Ashe. So I really like the switch coming out from DePaul. And now they're trying to maintain some sort of high ground advantage over where the point is, but now they've got to go through this amp.
Oh, and it's going to be extremely difficult to do so with that extra damage. That is an instant cleanup by Scarlet Hawks. What a huge advantage, despite the amplification matrix also being forced out by DePaul.
They force out only one ultimate is the problem, Rich. So 2 fights in a row that the Scarlet Hawks have won with one ultimate. And we haven't really had anything committed yet from DePaul, but they've got to start thinking about throwing those ultimates in now. You've wasted a lot of time trying to build some of these up. You know, you're at the minute mark basically. This has to be the fight where you commit, but they're going to be behind regardless. There's just so many ults available for IIT.
And with the Winston jumping from the high ground, generating a lot of that ultimate charge, will have it available. The Dragon Blade comes through from Scarlet Hawks on this defensive side, dominating well and giving some great harass, but there's still some hesitation. The Primal Rage going to finally be forced out of this as well. The second ultimate, now the third and fourth. This is where Scarlet will make sure to unload everything possible to dominate on this defensive hold. DePaul at this point just hoping for a window. The Dragon Blade comes through to take down the Ashe, but there is far too much going to bring this Genji down. The Tesla cannon damage with no defense against it will shut it out. 20 seconds now, and there's at least 2 ultimates for Scarlet to work
I
with.
don't understand that choice of using that blade there when nobody was around. You could have waited for your team to come back as 6. You had enough time that you could have been using this blade now.
Ooh, and the ultimate flux comes out early, wanting to lead with that. Bob has not yet been placed. The double kill comes through on this defensive side, and it will be actually a decent takeover here. That ultimate does yield value, and Bob is going to be there. So round 1 is completed with DePaul unable to take anything on this first point.
So Scarlet Hawks, another pretty good team as well. They did pretty good at the Battle for the Midwest. So I almost messed up the name of the tournament. I was there. I should remember these things, right? But you know, a team that we expect to be pretty good coming into this tournament anyway. So a pretty good showing from them here against the Academy team of DePaul, at least on that first point. But for DePaul, it felt like there was maybe some opportunities for things to happen. And again, it's maybe a little bit of a lack of awareness of what's going on. And those are things that you can clean up when you go back and watch this game. You didn't have to use the blade when it was used. Like, you could have waited for your team to come and maybe have a better advantage. Of course, you're going into ultimates, but it's one more target that they have to try and focus down. Maybe players are able to live a little bit better. Like, I don't know what happened to the immortality field for them when they got pulled into the Grivennik Flux, because it just didn't seem to come through. So, and where they were pulled made it a little bit difficult. But looking now defensively for DePaul, it's like, okay, maybe you can try it in matches. It's a tall task, but they're running this is just meta. Like, this is the most meta of meta compositions for what we've been seeing be the most popular thing that gets played. So this is them pulling out all the stops, really saying, all right, we're going to try and win this as best as we can.
And with a little bit of an adjustment here coming out, mainly going to be one of the support players and also Scarlet having the Wrecking Ball with the adjustment in this. Not going to be a complete mirror. You've already got some great applied pressure up front with the Genji play, but a little bit of a misposition here. Blade gets very, very low. Nice recovery in the back line from the supports, and this Immortality field being used already could start spelling disaster for DePaul. The aggression up front in this choke point is just consistently allowing Blade to unload damage in that small area, especially with the Dynamite. These shields are preventing a lot of value, but it's still being extremely difficult for DePaul on this defensive side to recover, especially with how lightning fast that Wrecking Ball minefield came out to zone anyone away. The first tick is here. It has been captured, and Scarlet manages to take this very convincingly on Temple of Anubis over DePaul.
The one thing there is the Gumbies was able to swing everybody off of the high ground. Not on his first attempt, his second attempt. He swung around once, missed, and then he swung around again, didn't let go, and came around and was able to knock into everybody. It was great. It worked out really well. It ends up leading to them eventually getting the win here, right? But that's one thing where if you're DePaul, like, there's got to be some recognition. Okay, Wrecking Ball, he misses coming around. You still see he's grappled, though. You have to know he's going to be coming swinging back around. You do have the ability to stun him. Like, I know it's hard sometimes to time that stuff, but, like, you have to be ready when you see the Wrecking Ball for what is it that this composition is trying to do, right? Like, clearly you want to dislodge players from where they are if you're playing Wrecking Ball. It's exactly what happens, leads to an awesome Dynamite that comes out too from the Scarlet Hawks. So like, it was just this, it was a domino effect after that happened. Knocked the players off, right into the enemy team. They get a massive dynamite. Immortality Field has to save them there. They back up, but it's too little too late. You lose both supports immediately at the beginning of the fight. The fight's over at that point.
Absolutely. And well, now we're going to enter into this Junkertown map, which I mean, to be fair, we've already seen some win play show its face here for these teams. So we would not be surprised to see that again. We've already seen a great usage of that from DePaul earlier, playing something a little bit more unorthodox, not sticking completely towards that meta type of composition. And I'm really interested to see if DePaul is going to stick with this, since it is something that they might have practiced a little bit more because it is so meta. And that also could be one of those things that's sometimes challenging for a team, because when you're trying to focus so heavily on the meta and making sure that you're foolproof in that higher level gameplay, you sometimes lose out on the opportunity of versatility and like what your wheelhouse can have when you come across teams that play something a little bit more unorthodox.
And that's like, this is one of those conversations that really gets into like coaching and like what's most important to do and how do you learn as a team. Like for newer teams, sometimes you just got to grind the meta, right? You've got to be at what's best, what's going to work on the most amount of maps. And then those other compositions are just going to suffer. You know, in a tournament like this, you don't get a whole lot of time to really sort of try and iron something out before the end of the season, because it's only 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I can't even remember what I said earlier because the brain, that's just where the brain is on this play.
Right.
But
it's okay. If we're going into the weekend, we're happy. We're having a good time. That's why we're all here watching.
The point, right. The point is, though, you don't, it's not like you're going to have the time of an Overwatch League team to sort of synthesize something down, right? You've got to find what's going to give you the highest percentage of chance on the most maps, which is going to be the meta comp. So, like, when that becomes your focus, like, it's understandable that you might falter against some other things, or you might not look as good on compositions that are maybe very niche for a map, but are very powerful on a map.
I just have to make a comment. I'm getting real hungry with all the observer focusing on food right now. It was first the takeout, and then it was just looking at the screen, even though it's all animated and it's not real. It's making me really hungry. But yeah, so thank you to our lovely observers.
I think Univeth specifically, the one who's been doing that. Shout outs to Univeth. But
yes, and Morals.
In Univeth, the Morals is our other observer, but. In Univeth's defense, you just ate, Rich. You literally ate in our break. You had food in your mouth when we were talking about things in the break.
But it was like quick consumption. It's like little spurts of food to try and keep me energized. So I'm still hungry in the grand scale of this. I'm Italian. I eat all the time. You get it, my friend.
I'm Italian too. I haven't eaten yet. So with where you're at least you got something in you. And
true. Hopefully
getting something done in this map is what they're hoping to do for DePaul here.
Absolutely. We want to see some lovely action here, whether it's a sizzle in the pan or a lovely after the consumption, as now you've got some decent defensive position here coming out from Scarlet, but the payload has actually managed to push quite a bit here, and we're going to see Tangerine with the Widowmaker looking for some sightlines, has been blocked by these shields now multiple times, and that's actually giving an opportunity for both this Ashe and Ana play in the back of Scarlet to find value onto that Genji play, and now Scarlet has been able to recover from this and start applying a serious amount of pressure.
Well, this Roadhog flank has been nuts coming around from Gumbies. They haven't been able to stop them at all. So, like, at that point, it's like, uh-oh, you thought you had something going on the front line, then this flank comes around and it doesn't get taken care of, you know? And then you get the push coming out from the front line of the enemy team, and now we get the cart stalled out.
And with it being stalled out, ooh, that was almost a good hook there from the side, but needs to be careful, has to play back a lot of that damage coming out from the shurikens to get near that Dragon Blade. And it still works very well in tandem with the Brigitte. You don't get the armor stack as much just because of the recent patch, but this whole hog's going to commit into this. The Immortality Field has been forced out. And with that, it's still going to lead a little bit more for DePaul to push on. And this reroute and side position allows DePaul to get the numbers advantage, but will be equalized and no blade available now.
This should be the go time, though, for the blade, because no Immortality Field.
Ooh, Nano Blade coming through. A great flashbang, but no execution, and that is a reset now with a great follow-up by Scarlet.
Very good focus fire coming out onto Genji specifically for the healing from Mach Q. So that's one of those things that you like to see when you use the Nano Boost. It's like, sure, you get that extra, your health goes all the way back up. You're a little bit more tanky, but you still need that healing to make sure that you can complete that blade. That's what you see happen. They knew no immortality field, and now they can continue to rotate the rest of their ultimates to save over IIT. But oh, here comes some ults.
Oh, the Flux just before the blade, a little bit out of range for it, to be honest. When you were on the ground and the dash was expended, it couldn't get nearly as much value. Little bit of a misplay there from DePaul, but there is still some decent opportunity to recover from this. But it will be Scarlet saying, no, 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 Sasuke, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm probably... Sasuke.
Sasuke.
Wait, what? Sasuke! Yeah, because I know how to read names. It does get a cleanup here, but does get taken down later. And this is still a good chance. DePaul actually might be able to reach this checkpoint.
We've learned today that Rich is not a weeb, but they do have an opportunity here. Immortality field gets used so early, though. They've been using these immortality fields early, which opens up a lot for the Scarlet Hawks.
And now with the Scarlet Hawks looking to regroup, great dynamite onto 3. Forces back DePaul. The healers have to focus extremely hard on keeping the team alive. Tangerine almost picked off here, and it's going to be a nice recovery. And with this now few seconds remaining, 35, there's only one last attempt for DePaul to breach this checkpoint.
They have an early pick, though. Oh, they got picked early, so they have no choice. They can't wait. They have to go. But this is so much aggression from Scarlet Hawks. They can't even get back, Rich.
No, recovery from this is absolutely difficult to even try and compose yourselves with how far aggressive you were just saying that Scarlet is playing. And these last few seconds really are going to matter, especially with the Flux. It has to get so much value with the Supercharger.
You don't have any immortality to feel to worry about with it, too, is the nice thing.
Supercharger going to lead into it. The Flux going to counter to try and look the multiple members. The Dragon Blade comes out, and Bladed working well in tandem. And that's just going to be far too much to handle. The numbers advantage in favor of Scarlet on this defense. DePaul attempting, leading with everything they've got. A Dragon Blade of their own. Still being able to survive through quite a bit of it. Nobody gonna focus the Genji down. But Bob is here. It is going to definitely cry wolf. And that will be the defensive hole here for round 1 of Scarlet.
There was a glimmer of hope for DePaul there. It looked like they had it when that Genji blade came out. There was nothing that could deal with Genji, but they were just not enough damage ends up being done. I don't know what happened to DePaul's Gravitic Flux. I think there was a misclick because nobody got grabbed by it. And
yeah, it might have been.
And when you miss with an ultimate like that so early on, you're just kind of setting yourself already so far back, right? Like that's such a high impact ultimate for what it does, not only for the damage, but for what your team can do while those players are in the air. So a big loss with that ultimate there. And you got close though. Like at least they got almost to the end. We've at least seen the full thing of Junkertown today, Rich.
Yep.
But
we have.
We're not going to now. So
second time around, no. We're not going to pass by the lovely food shop. I had to make a comment about that because I'm glad that my observer didn't touch on it. But no drive-by pickup here as we see the defensive side for DePaul coming out. I'm interested to see how this McCree's going to play because we've seen this come out every now and again. The McCree rotated out for the Ashe.
It's more to sort of try and deal with Sasuke, right? Like you're trying to deal with the Genji. That's one of the key parts of this. It gives you a little bit more of, it's not anti-dive necessarily, but it's another element of anti-dive.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this, crowd control, it could be very useful to get the pick necessary to take down Sasuke and regroup with the rest of the team. Sasuke, though, getting a nice side position here, and the fact that you already have DePaul picking off a couple leads to their advantage on this defensive side. But really, Scarlet still keeping in tow with DePaul in this defense. And you've just got these Sigmas going head-to-head right now, just trying to do what they can. The Wrecking Ball comes through as well, and that's going to be Scarlet able to finally persevere through this defensive line.
The tank line is really good for the Scarlet Hawks. I mean, Gumbies and Alchemisto work together really well, so like super fun to watch them work together. Now they only have to win one more fight. Like, you've got one chance here if you're DePaul to maybe stop this.
One chance to bam, bam, boom, 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 bam. Not gonna do the copywriting. Sasuke, though, gonna get pulled away here by the halt in the back line. Looks for the regroup as the amplification matrix comes out from Jupiter. Even exchange, both Briggs down. The second support goes as well for DePaul. And this is a very difficult position to be in. Nothing to sustain you for that defensive side. The Dragon Blade and Pulse Bomb come up and are available. But you've got Scarlet once again here in a great position to continue regrouping more than enough time and to compete against DePaul.
Yeah, DePaul pretty happy with the fact that they were able to stop the cart here. They've got ultimates pretty quickly. Tangerine made that switch just very recently to the Tracer, so already feeling dividends from this switch. Just have to be careful. Don't lose anybody early. Get value out of these ults.
Ooh, the Flux going to be eaten on that one? Okay, that's a new one to see in the kill feed as both blades come through, but one shall prevail. Sasuke with the double, and the brother Shimada by Bladed Banana gets the kill. That will be the nail in the coffin as Scarlet Hawks manages to take the second map of Junkertown.
They looked really good there too. They lose one fight, right? Like that's the one fight that they've lost so far. And it comes off of the back of some very good play from the DPS of DePaul Academy. They get some quick picks, and it was good trading by DePaul to win that fight.
Yeah.
Nano boost. Doesn't matter what's happening anywhere else. Just win the fight and win the game for Sasuke on the play of the game there. But for DePaul specifically, I mean, you saw a fight where they trade out Brigittas. It's a 5v5. They're able to win. Like, that's one of those fights that you're going to go look and kind of look back at if you're DePaul and be like, okay, that's how we want to play all of the time. The sort of things we're doing in that fight are the things we want to carry over into other fights. And, I mean, they're just kind of behind. They were just too far behind at that point where there was really no chance for them to enrich. But we got another map. So that's the good thing at the very least. And the fact that you didn't know Sasuke is still something that's sticking with me because, like, did you never watch like Ninja Warrior back in the day on G4?
No, I know.
And like literally, the term Sasuke,
it's the Sasuke run, isn't it?
Yes,
that's okay. I've actually,
do you know what
Sasuke
Sasuke
is.
means?
I've just never actually seen it written.
Wait, but do you know what Sasuke means though?
No, isn't it from Naruto?
Ninja. It means ninja.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It does. Okay. See, Rich Rad learns, friends. Rich Rad learns today.
It's also a character in Naruto, but like, you're not a weeb, so like,
okay,
it's whatever.
I knew that part. I knew that part, and then the whole run thingy where they're just like
the Naruto run, right?
Yeah, the Naruto run. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not a boomer at all. Not a boomer at all.
I was gonna say, I'm a boomer too, and I know,
but let's not talk about it. We'll leave on that note and allow you all to have a moment to digest exactly what I had just said out loud and the fact that I don't know what I'm talking about. So digest that. Rich Rad doesn't know what he's talking about. He's totally out of his league when it comes to discussion about Sasuke. But like I said, we will be back in just a moment, friends. So don't go anywhere because we are going to see if DePaul manages to maybe get some Sasuke running of their own. I don't know. I tried. All right, we'll see you in a moment, friends. Don't go anywhere.
up. Told myself to push and never stop. I've been stressed out, watching both these hands around the clock. With my eyes wide, trying to get the panorama shot. Whole world getting blurry to me, answers getting lost. So I watch my back and keep it moving to the front. And remember that the world's yours, do it how you want. You've been waiting here for too long, think it's time for you to move on. Realize that there's real lies in these real times to be strong.
I've been waiting all my life, and it was right before my eyes. Watching all this time slip by, now I realize. You know I've been waiting, 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 waiting. But will you wait for me?
I'm forever grinding, waiting for my time to shine just like a diamond. But life is rough and I ain't with that funny stuff. I use it all as motivation, but it's hard to have the patience. Watching time fly by might be the hardest thing I have to do in life. Frustrated that I ain't where I want to be yet, but I know that I'ma make it if I chase that check. Yes.
Cause I done seen the time go by for too many years now when the stars were aligned. Cause I done seen the time go by. Yeah, I done seen the time go by.
I've been waiting all my life, and it was right before my eyes. Watching all this time slip by, now I realize. I've been waiting all my life, and it was right before my eyes. Watching all this time slip by, now I realize. You know I've been waiting, 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 waiting. But will you wait for me?
Yeah, I spit raps like a heart attack, fast fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet out, get ready for defeat now. I'm gonna make you bleed out, listen on repeat now and weed out all the weak now. Get up and make a change, don't remember yesterday. If you got something to say, speak your mind before your grave, cause your life is yours to save. Ain't nobody gonna change, everybody stays the same. So be different, make a name,
like
huh?
a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. I march until it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. I march until it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. March until it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. March until it's over.
It's ridiculous, I'm spitting this meticulous and limitless, while others out there spitting shit got hits up on the charts and shit. I see why other artists harvest quick, cause people don't reward good shit. They love to hate, but hate to live. Society, you swing and miss. And honestly, I get it. Promise me you won't regret it. Wasting energy, forget it. Don't look back, go on and get it. Bite the bullet just a bit. Bite your tongue and don't say shit. Make your actions hard to miss. Be a legend, not a myth. Yeah. It's obnoxious that I'm conscious. Rapping honest as promise. Try to harness. As an artist, stay modest. It's a long quest. I will not quit till 10,000 people going off. When I drop this, I gotta make it now. Swear to God, I'm breaking out. Swear to God, I'll take a bow. Stand the stage with the crowd. Cause I got it figured out. I'm just honest and I'm loud. Saying modest, but I'm proud. No, I never had a doubt.
Just like
Yeah.
a soldier, I keep on moving forward. Always getting closer. I march until it's over. And just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward. Always getting closer. I march until it's over. And just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward. Always getting closer. March until it's over. And just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward. Always getting closer. March until it's over. And just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward. Always getting closer. I march until it's over. And just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward. Always getting closer. I march until it's over.
If we are one grain of sand in the middle of the ocean, can you try to understand how a touch can cause explosions? Rise up. I'm too great to be landed. Rise up. We're too great to be standing.
They ain't never gonna stop us, fly at 'em like choppers, better cook those risks, cool, but on my fists we fire starters, one out of a million will reach those heights, always in the field and then I won't deny that work, never could toss, look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks, guys. Rise, cutting my size, trying to make sense of it all comprised. Yeah, eyes, spinning these skies. Never stuck down, feeling paralyzed, but I'm up now. We all too late to fall. Yeah, anyone coming, I'ma lift them all. Never look down when this risk involved. They got guts, got a learn, gotta wish it off. Ain't got no feelings, we just floating. Yeah, I'm that grain of sand that made it out the ocean. A couple milli now, I'm causing a commotion. I've been coasting, hear my name around the world like an explosion.
So rise up. Rise up. We are the apocalypse and a path that keeps us floating. As we fly above the stars, the night won't scare us falling. So rise up. I'm too great to be landed. Rise up. We're too great to be standing.
They ain't never gonna stop us, fly at 'em like choppers, better cook those risks, cool, but on my fists we fire starters, let's go, one out of a million will reach those heights, always in the field and then I won't deny that work, never could toss, look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks, guys.
Hello and welcome back, friends. The break has been here and now it is gone as we enter in onto Lijiang Tower, the control point that is going to potentially be the match point here for Scarlet Hawks. I am Rad here with the amazing Labasco. And Labasco, on our break, we actually found out a little bit about Tangerine, actually, from DePaul. Didn't know this outright.
Yeah, Tangerine, one of our casters here with Game On Chicago, too. So shout outs to Tangerine because, you know, It's been a little bit of a rough game, but
Right.
you
Right.
know.
I mean, and their lovely partner, Mona Burke as well. I mean, they may
Yeah.
not be here playing, but Tangerine and Mona Burke, yeah, we're going to shout out to them since they've
Of
got
course.
still quite a tall order here going into this night market.
Yes, Night Market is going to be one. We're going to get to see some Reinhardt play, it looks like, going to come out from the Scarlet Hawks. I'm a fan of Reinhardt play, so I am totally cool with this. But we also have a Symmetra that we've seen so many teams do this now, Rich, and they're going to have point control, but now both teams are doing this.
And every member of DePaul, unfortunately, falling immediately into all three of those Symmetra turrets, and that is how critical it is to get to that position first to deal that much damage.
They got there so much earlier. I don't know if DePaul didn't realize they were there, because they dropped in, and like even if you're dropping in, like if they're ready for you, you're lambs to the slaughter.
Yeah, it's just already so much leading into that, and now at this point you're going to have to play catch-up. You've got DePaul getting at least one early kill onto the support line, but a massive Earth Shatter comes out, but a nice takedown from the Pharah play overhead to prevent that melee damage from the hammer up front. There was not as much exploitation on that, so this is a chance now for Scarlet to move in.
Yeah, it was cool that the shatter came through, but there just wasn't enough follow-up damage.
No, not at all. And this Photon Barrier going to try and equalize here from Scarlet to maintain the position, already surpassing 35%. Coalescence going to be up and ready just in case of needing it, but too many have fallen by DePaul, and that's going to be a great reset here. But needs to be careful of this Pharah. That's going to be a real detriment to Scarlet if left uncontested by DePaul.
Yeah, the Scarlet Hawks, though, have handled any pressure so well. Like, Gumby's shatters, really cool. It's like, oh man, Scarlet Hawks, you're just dominant. But then they give up a lot of ground, but they're still able to win the fight at the end. So DePaul now trying to come back in, like, this is so hard to get through when you've got so much that you can hold with, especially now you have to try and go through a Coalescence and now the Blade.
And it's going to get a lot of value in the back line. Rocket Barrage to try and counter, but a huge accretion comes out from the Sigma play to shut it down. The numbers continue to stack evenly until finally DePaul with the res manages to gain the advantage. Flank from the backside, Kinetic Grass not going to mitigate any more of those rockets since it wasn't able to generate much more of the shield. And this point now will finally be able to get stripped away from Scarlet, but DePaul still has that Reinhardt to remove from the point, and it has to come through quickly, but the regroup may just start to happen.
They're starting to get here. They were just trying to get the 99, though. That was all they were doing.
That's all they wanted.
That's it. Sasuke gives up his life, so does Gubby's, but Bladed Banana made the switch finally off of the Symmetra. Kind of have to at this point, so goes over to the McCree. That's just about winning one fight. They can stack ultimates if they want. They've got actually enough ultimates that they can probably just win with these two, and then a pick like that, Rich.
Ooh, and then you're going to have the blocked Shatter, which is so critical here from DePaul to try and maintain at least some pressure on this defensive position of Night Market. But this rotation comes through around the statue, finding a flank, clearing off all members of DePaul. The bell shall toll, and that will be a take back from Scarlet. And this aggression is only going to put insult to injury, making sure that nobody is going near that point.
Gumby's tried to take someone with him when he got booped off the map. That was pretty funny. But for the Scarlet Hawks, I mean, like they knew exactly what they needed to do to retake. Tangerine came back with a Deadeye, and they shut that down instantly. It doesn't even have a chance to go off. So like the one glimmer of hope that maybe you had if you were DePaul there to keep the fight going, even though you got through one ultimate, still weren't able to make it happen. But now you get to go somewhere where they want to, for DePaul, they're throwing out the Pharah here. This time we get to see a Mercy with it, though, Rich. So, like, maybe that ends up being a little better.
I was gonna say, you commented about this earlier on Gardens,
on
where
Night Market,
there was the Pharah
Gardens
play
last time, yeah.
Yeah, and there was no Mercy. So hopefully this time around, the fact that Jupiter is adopting this Mercy play is going to speak a lot more volumes here for this Pharah to maintain applied pressure and really start whittling down these health values and getting some environmental kills as well. It could look like one, but does fall short and doesn't get anybody.
Very, very risky to go that way when you know the Pharah is there, too. But they were able to get on control for the Scarlet Hawk, so they are still in a great position.
Sasuke in the back getting some decent shuriken damage onto the Pharah, but again, Jupiter there to maintain that health value just high enough, and all the while the focus is at the Pharah. The mainland ground battle between both tanks on Zupal have been brought down. The res from Jupiter, the quick diversion from the Pharah to the mainland is actually doing a lot of work here. The supports are helping out, but unfortunately there is just far too much focus fire from Scarlet and negating all of the assistance this backline DePaul support play is doing.
It looked like it was disastrous when they let Jupiter get the res off, which crazy res to get off anyways, but they're still able to turn it around. They're still able to stay alive. DePaul just didn't find those last few frags they needed to actually take the point over. So you get the first take again from IIT, and now it becomes that much more difficult to try and take back with their composition. You know, the Orisa's very slow to get on the point. It's very easy to dive onto some of these targets for Sasuke.
And now with that diving onto Sasuke being the focus here, you do have a lot to keep Sasuke alive. You have both of the supports sticking very close. The dynamite pressure from Bladed Banana gets a huge amount of damage and forces out the immortality field from Goats.
No.
And that Minefield Bob combination gets a huge amount of value, forcing away everyone from DePaul. You've got Jupiter saying, I'm just going to take a rain check, fam, hop into the pool, and come back for another attempt.
Bob on one side, Mines on the other. What one do you want to go into? They were all coming from White Room, so they had to go into the Mines, and they couldn't do anything about it. It very, perfectly placed. Like, they are keeping themselves in front so well for the Scarlet Hawks. They've got so many ults they can rotate through, and Sasuke taking forever to get to finally displayed, but is going to at least get it now for this next fight.
And with this next fight, it's leading into that final fight. Aggression comes through, just barrels through the front line. The Flux comes out in the back, managing to get the cleanup, and that is going to be a huge pickup. And the Nano Boost comes out, I think, just for funsies at this point.
Yeah, just to make sure you keep everybody alive. You've got one more fight, maybe, if anybody can even get back. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, though. DePaul desperately trying to, but this is Scarlet Hawks to lose.
And with the Flux leading into this, there has to be value. Unfortunately, nobody going to get the rise and fall. An early pick, though, comes out for 2 in the stun onto Sasuke, but there is not a follow-up onto it, and you need that to happen. The supercharger from Tetra. DePaul hoping to get enough damage onto this team of Scarlet. It's not going to be enough. The dash reset comes through, and this will be Scarlet Hawks exerting all that they have on this point, making it a 3-0 in this score, allowing them to not only claim this map, but this match for today. What a stellar play from both Scarlet Hawks today, and also the earlier DePaul Blue Demons as well.
Yeah, both the Blue Demons, their top team, and the Scarlet Hawks here both looked really good. Dominated their opponents. That's just knowing tech there, what Gumby's just did off of the ceiling.
I thought they were going to go off the edge. I thought he was going to go off the edge. I'm going to be real honest. I'm like, I missed that, but no, just clip in the corner. It's those subtle nuances that whether or not they knew it by heart or not, we were all like, okay.
No, he knew that.
What you're doing.
100% knew that. Like, there's no doubt. Like, when you do that, that person knows the tech, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't do that by accident. Like, oh, I'm going to use this over the root, like that's purposely done. Like, that's somebody who knows what they're doing on the Wrecking Ball. And Gumby's looked really good on that Wrecking Ball every time that he played it. So that's something that's cool that we get to see from the Scarlet Hawks, because I think Wrecking Ball just adds a different dynamic that teams don't really know how to deal with at times, because it's like this massive target that can just deal a ton of damage, get out so fast if you know what you're doing. The shielding ability, like Wrecking Ball is a fun hero that Overwatch has when used correctly, and when you can see what Wrecking Ball can really do. It's just a matter of whether or not the players can really play around it, and Scarlet Hawks seem to be able to do that really well. So you have to give them a ton of credit for that. DePaul was able to get some takes, though. They got some percentage. Like, you give credit to DePaul for that. Like, that's improvement from some of the other maps that they have.
For sure. And with, going into this first week, again, it is the first day of us being able to really get into this. And we've got still many more weeks to come, total of 5 weeks for this entire Game on Chicago open online, and it's going to be really exciting to see the development of these teams over the course of these next 3 weeks and their Swiss rounds to see who enters into the playoffs and then concluding to those semis and finals in the 5th week. It has been an absolute pleasure to be bringing this action to you today. And if you are also interested as well, we actually do have Valorant coming up next week and signups through Friday. So for those that may not have as, they got their Overwatch fix and now you need something else to, it's almost like when you go to the grocery store and you get a breakfast cereal and then you have your breakfast cereal and then you're like, man, I really want the other breakfast cereal, and you kind of teeter-totter. That's my life right now, and that's what gaming life is. So we've gone now with Overwatch, and now we can have some Valorant. So definitely take a look at that as well. You can find all the information in the social links below, Discord as well, if you'd like to be involved. But it's been a pleasure casting with you, Labasco. I know we don't get too often, and it's exciting, and it's the Italian Stallions coming out to bring some action every time.
That's the nice thing at Stallions. I don't know where, but the nice thing about getting to cast with you in doing Game On is that we do get to cast together. So that's one of the cool things that we get to do here. You know, both of us being play-by-play guys most of the time. Yeah. It's nice to be able to get a chance to work together and do these games, and they're a lot of fun.
Indeed. And now, as we do conclude for the night, we want to send some major shout outs to our lovely production. We've got Game On Chicago, who is organizing the entire back end of this, which we are very grateful for. We've got Univeth along with Morals as well, who have been handling all the production and visibility and observing for today. So we hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. It's been an absolute pleasure. Definitely take a look at that Valorant sign up and look forward to next week, where we've got more Overwatch to see how the second week of this Swiss format continues. Have a great night. Happy gaming, friends.